welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate. This is episode 127, and we're coming to you with a live update. Just kidding. It is a live show, but we are at PAX tonight. Alex and I did not get to go to PAX, but our buddy JJ did go to PAX. So we're going to talk a little bit about his run. We're going to talk a little bit about what he did there. And then next week, he can give a full detail if he ever comes back to the show. With that being said, we are going to cover PAX Unplugged in their extended tournament they have there. We are not going to do the Fangs Out tournament, which I originally really wanted to do because they haven't released the damn lists on the thing yet. So we'll cover the Fangs Out tournament next week if the lists get released for that. We're also going to be talking about Rust Cup. If you don't know what Rust Cup is, it's a team tournament where 5 to 7 people form a team. You bring a list for every single faction, and then you get paired up in a semi-round robin-ish style where you get paired against the other ones, and then the captains get to decide who goes against who. But who better than to tell you about that than Alex, my co-host for tonight. Welcome, Alex. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Lions won. They got a little scary for a little bit. Unsurprisingly, U of M won, so that was nice.
Yeah.
A good weekend for football for Michigan.
I did not watch the Lions play. I did not watch U of M play either, but I definitely didn't watch the Lions because tonight I went and saw Monty Python and the Holy Grail in the movie theater for the very first time. I'd never had done that before. Seen it in the movie theater. I've seen that movie hundreds of times, but never in a movie theater.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it is. It was an amazing time, especially because you can actually read the credits on the screen so much better than even like I have a pretty big TV, but you know, like it's still only 55-inch. And it is an old movie, but man, when you see it on that big screen and you can actually read the subtitles, they'll tell you when they get to the very end of the thing and the blinking lights show up in a movie theater, that's horrendous. Like, could you imagine being there the first time, not knowing it's going to happen, and then all of a sudden the blinking llama lights come on and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's terrific. Yeah, actually, I saw Godzilla. The past couple of days, the new Godzilla film, the Japanese one. It was incredible.
Yeah, I saw they had advertisements for it that it came out this week, and I was like, I don't go to see very many movies, so I didn't know if it was worth it or not.
If I didn't love like stupid kaiju like bullshit, man, this is probably the best Godzilla film. That Atomic Breath is the best one out of any movie he's ever done ever. It's insane.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, maybe we'll have to check that out over the holiday coming up
so
here at
good.
the end of the month. Also, we got to see former host Charles. Charles flew into Grand Rapids this weekend, and we had kind of a little reunion with some of the X-Wing gang. We did not play X-Wing, but we did have a little reunion, played a bunch of board games, and then we went out karaokeing. And maybe I don't know if I probably shouldn't do that. I have video of Charles karaokeing.
What song?
I should play that. I'll have to. Well, the song I have is "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
Oh Jesus!
Because that's like Charles's favorite karaoke song to sing.
I've seen someone karaoke Bodies so much. That is the most like frequent song I've seen people karaoke, and I don't know why. I've seen 2 people karaoke in one night.
Do that song? Yeah, people like that song. I don't know, man. It's a catchy song. It's like I don't like anything else they do, but
it just reminds me of like a 2004 Call of Duty montage.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, we went with our friend Bob and John, who used to be on the podcast once in a while. John came out with his girlfriend, and it was a fun old time. We went down to the PlayStation Pub, which is like an old Pizza Hut that they converted into a bar. So it looks like a Pizza Hut that says PlayStation Pub on it. You're like, oh, okay. And yeah, it was pretty fun. I enjoyed myself quite a bit. I sang a couple of songs too. Everybody was kicking it off with like the slow jam crap, and I'm sitting here like, oh my God, like it's 9:30. What are you people singing? Like, where's the energy? So I opened with Dragula by Rob Zombie. So
see, I just have like really high singing voice, so I got to do like teenage dirtbag or something, you know.
Well, maybe next time we all get together, we can do a karaoke session. That might be fun. With that being said, why don't we get into some X-Wing? Alex, you want to do Rust Cup or PAX first?
Oh, let's do Rust Cup.
All right.
Ease people into PAX.
Yeah. So Alex, why don't you give us an overview? What is Rust Cup and how can they find out information? Because I think this is a yearly thing now. That's what it seems to essentially be.
Yeah, so it's in Ohio, North Olmsted area, run by Nate May, who's fantastic. And he's trying to do this. It seems like he's trying to do it yearly. It's a team tournament. You're only playing 5 games, so you only can, we're going as a team of 5, Team Detroit. But you can have up to 7 people. You did that last year, right? With 7 people.
Yeah, we had 7 people go. Almost only had 6. Matt almost didn't make it because of the snowstorm.
Right. We, you go there. Man, I'm super bad at this. I'm reading the document too. Anyway, so like you have a captain. They choose. Well, you actually submit your list like a week early, which is why we have all the information on the lists. So we're going to, so you can kind of look at it, think of matchups. Your captain will choose. Basically, they sacrifice a list. And then you do the back and forth matchups, but you don't know the scenarios yet, and then you'll get randomly assigned the scenarios. And then you get a bunch of different points. Basically, they have like battle stars and ribbons that they're giving out for like play every faction once, or if your team, if you went like 5-0, you get like a specific one, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a little bit like NCX, but you don't know the scenario and you don't assign the scenario. So in that aspect, I kind of like it a little bit better. So you can't quite tailor your lists for whatever you're doing, but you can do, I'm bringing a Republic list, and that's more of a scenario-based list. So we can pair that into like a list that's not particularly good at scenarios, like Zam Jango Dirge, for instance, as a nice little counter pick we can do.
Yep, and I think the big catch or the big excitement piece here is because the captains get to pair one set of people, right? But not every single one. It's only the one set, and then there's like a random pairing. At least I thought that's what they did last year. Maybe it's only one random pairing.
No, I think the random part of the one pairing is the other list that no one paired against.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because you give one list over, and then that's kind of like your gimme list. Because that's what we had last year. Is I got stuck as the gimme list because I had like the majority of so back then I was running Django, Grievous, 2 droids, and someone else. I can't remember who the heck it was. I can't remember if we had Dirge. Did we have Dirge last year? We did, didn't we?
He just came out. Yeah. I played against one in Rust Cup.
And it must have been Dirge. It was either, I don't know, it was Dirge or some other 4-point ship that I was running. And like, so I got put up like 3 times out of the rounds just because it was easy. Like my list did okay in scenarios for the most part. I could have crate carriers. This is before people could throw a million red dice, of course. I had crate carriers and I could play assault really well because of Django and all that fancy jazz. So because Django was a little overpowered back then. In the meta. So
we just put Cody up every time, and we're just like, good luck trying to match up into this.
Yeah. So people might know Cody's list now. Somebody's running a version of Cody's list, actually.
Yeah, you give 2 lists to your opponent. They give 2 to you, and then you pair one of your teammates against one list they give you. They do the same on their side, and then the last people are paired up together, which I like. I think that's cool. And I hope that I'm not the sacrificial list because I'm just running my scum list most of the time. But as long as I don't get chance, I'll probably be fine. I don't know what people would even try to match up and do it.
Yeah, your list is a little. You have the oddball list, so. All
And
right,
I have a
so.
list with oddball, but not the one you want.
Yeah, you have the stupid Y-wing one because that's like your favorite stupid shit to run. All right, so so I guess we need to play Gatekeeper a little bit because I want to make sure we cover PAX tonight. And there was
Yeah.
a few store champs. I do want to cover those. So I don't want to spend a million years on this, but there's some interesting choices in here. And here's the best part. They don't have any of the names, so I don't know any of the people. Like I know Nate May is in Cleveland. Like not that I can spell Russ Cup, it seems. I just see that. Anyway, so I don't know some of the names of some of the people that are running these ones, but there is some very interesting choices in here. So I guess, do we want to go through all of Cleveland's ones first, or do you want to go faction by faction?
You know what? Faction by faction, I think would make a little bit more sense. Not just to like go super in depth of these, just to see what people are bringing, because they don't have the luxury of just, we submitted everything before PAX was like even a thing, right? So we don't even get to glean any
PAX.
possible info if there's any cool lists coming out from there.
All right. So to begin with, we have Cleveland, Akron. I'm going to call them Acorns. Cleveland, the Acorns, and Pittsburgh and Detroit are the 4 teams coming out to this event. Last year, I think we had 6 or 7.
7. Yeah, we had 7 because we came directly in the middle. We were 4th, 3 above, 3 below.
Yeah. This year we didn't have enough. Sean has prior engagements. I have prior engagements. And so that kind of like started to stifle the team there. And Brendan just had a baby, so Brendan couldn't go.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of like people from Ohio are just like randomly, I can't do this because of this reason. It was like crazy how many teams that like were going and then kind of fizzled out from life things.
Yeah, and if they ever do a like a discussion, like if you get to submit feedback, like there should be a discussion about like 3-person teams with the same, you have to bring all 7 lists. And I wonder how like that would add a whole different complexity level to some of that too. But all right, let's begin. So Cleveland. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read off the list for each of them, just the pilots, and then you could tell me which ones you want to see in the doc. So we have Cleveland is running 2 tubes, Hera, Corin, Gina, and Keo. Definitely.
Yes, benthic 2 tubes, not to get confused. It's a Heratani list here.
Yeah, kind of a Heratani list. Then we have Han, Luke, Wedge, Keo, Sabine, which is the same thing you guys ran.
No, actually, we're doing
Hole there instead of Wedge.
Josh wanted to do Holocken instead of Wedge.
I see. And then the other Rebels one from Pittsburgh is the same thing: Han, Luke, Wedge, Keo. So I have no idea how this is going to look on the screen.
Yeah, so the actual crazy part is those are not the upgrades you normally expect on those kinds of ships here.
No, we have Selfless and Proton Cannons on Gina.
I bet JJ would appreciate that Gina Selfless FCS Proton Cannons instead of like Plasma Torp Proton Cannons.
Yeah, that Selfless is 4 points, isn't it?
Yeah, Selfless really went up. Not for like a particular reason I can think of, but yeah, it's 4 points. So,
and Benthic has Hopeful, Perceptive, and Leia.
Yep, and no Jyn Erso in this Heratani list, which is
no one's getting evades. I guess like okay. How I guess you can, you can't even do that because so you're going without evades unless Hera A-Wing takes an evade.
Right, Hera takes the evade. I mean, I guess Kyo could evade, but like you're not whatever. You have force evade. But yeah.
And cluster
That's
missiles. It's like we are in
in
Europe
Europe.
again.
Yeah, Europe missiles, man.
Where's my mag pulse? I don't like
Heck,
anyway.
the super cool thing actually is that each list has Kyo. Each list has the 3 different popular Kyo builds, and I can respect that.
Yeah, what did you guys have on your Kyo? You had
Lone Wolf concussions.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Josh loves those.
Yeah.
I mean, he got runner up or what top four at not runner up right at Crossroads with that. So
I don't remember. Sure.
yeah, runner up at Crossroads. So we're just like, yeah, play that.
We have two Hans.
2 marksmanship Hans. Like, both of them have marksmanship.
Which Han is getting marksmanship is what I want to know. Why do you not have hopeful if you got the extra boy, I guess?
I don't.
And Chewbacca, which is a choice.
Okay.
Over Choppa.
Yeah, both these Hans here, they went with the gentlemen's. We're not gonna run like the normal Han builds, I guess. So one of them is K2SO Ursa Ren Hotshot Gunner Han. Yeah. And I don't know what their thought process is with the hotshot. I mean, it's an I6. I'm just trying to think of like what advantageous matchup that would have. And I guess would be against other I6s. So someone like Vader, right, is like AB Fen Rao. People are bringing Fen Rao, Poe, Django, I guess.
I'm confused by it too, because like to use Hotshot Gunner, you have to have a focus, right?
No. Hotshot is just after you shoot at them. They have to.
You have to
after you do the it's a turret attack specifically. After the modify, they have to remove a focus or calculate token. So you're stripping green tokens off people.
So I mean, I guess I could see it working. To me, it doesn't seem better than just having a double tap. But
maybe it's meant to kill FOs because most of them are I5s.
Yeah, and in fairness, you do have you can run Han and then run like Boy Luke and Wedge in kind of a loose formation, or you could have in Wedge or Keo could kind of pincer with Luke, and then Han just kind of circles around them, strips a token, lets Luke get those proto-torps off. I don't know. I guess I could see it.
I mean, it does make the protorps hit really hard if you forcefully strip a focus from them, right?
Yeah, but if you're
maybe he's good against other Hans too.
If you're just shooting twice and you get rerolls and you get too much dice, like I don't know, like that strips tokens too and does damage. So I don't know.
Yeah, the other one, the other Han is a more typical, but this one has Chewbacca on it, which is one of my least favorite upgrades in the game because I think it's just absolutely useless. That's at the start of engagement. You can spend 2 to repair 1 face-up damage card, two of the charges that he comes with. But like, it kills me that it's start of engagement instead of like the end phase, like novice tech for a point cheaper.
Yeah,
that you should run on Han anyways, because you're going to reroll the die if you fail.
Yep. I don't know. It's whatever. And then your list is the atypical list.
Just the typical Han list with the Holokin instead of the Wedge. Empire people got real spicy with, let me tell you.
Yeah, so in Empire, all right, so in Empire, we have a RAC with a Vader, a Death Troopers, and VTG.
Yep.
And Ruthless. But I'm a little confused on the VTG, but okay, cool. I guess you could double tap. Then we have Volt Scarus with shield upgrade, Ruthless, which is okay. I could see.
That's the Interceptor. That's what you usually see with him. And mind you, like Staniszewski ran the same pilots at Crossroads.
Yeah. How much is Volt?
4 points.
Yeah. Yep. So you could run Jonas in that list. Anyway,
yeah.
Then you have basically a typical Tomex.
No,
it
ruthless
has-
feedback barrage bomblet. You don't have the sat salvo. You have the feedback
so
ping.
whatever, you have feedback ping instead of sat salvo, but then you have Reimer with feedback ping, proton bombs, and barrage rockets. That's definitely different. And then the standard loadout, Deathfire.
Yes.
Which okay, I can see a little bit of that, I guess.
The feedback pings are for when like Deathfire launches the bomb forward.
Yep.
It just sucks that you don't have like seismics instead of VTG on RAC for also more feedback ping things.
I mean, here, I don't know. It just, because you can't get sat salvo and feedback ping, So it's like, eh. But yeah, seismics would be. Can Deathfire? It's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. So it's a different ship per se.
Yeah, that you'll occasionally see feedback ping, like barrage rocket, like plasma torp or cluster missile Reimer, which is pretty cool. I like the feedback ping, shoot range 3 cluster missiles and hit 2 people. I was actually strongly considering that for Empire list.
Yeah.
The next list, though,
the next list is my
you
favorite.
finally have Duchess.
Yep, somebody ran Duchess. Somebody thought that was a good idea, and maybe
Duchess.
it is.
Well, we haven't played the games yet, so maybe it is. Duchess, Discipline, Ruthless, Tiber, Saxon, Shield. That's the one where if you hit them, you can spend charges to give them strain tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Jonas with Sat Salvo, Barrage Bomblet. Makes sense. Reimer with Sat Salvo, Barrage Rocket, Mix, and Munitions Failsafe, which is not delayed fuses.
Yep.
And then you got 4 Black Squadron aces. It's a 7-ship list.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, outside of Duchess, I think this is a hilarious list. Like, there. I mean, we know swarms. This list could eat certain other lists apart. So this is like the list you hold back 100%. You never give this list up, because not only are people not going to know how to play against this list can essentially, if you don't shove it against another bomb list, like this list could eat some other lists alive.
Yeah, and you hold back too, so you don't pair it up into the Bistan Hans either, right? So you have a little bit of agency. I'm not exactly sure if like Duchess is gonna cut it, because you can, cut out Duchess and like a TIE fighter and get Vader or something, but
Yep.
no,
and that would be valid too, but somebody said, screw it, I don't want to run Vader.
that would only be a 6-ship list, and they want a 7-ship list.
Yeah, so they must not have gone with the we had a restriction last year where we couldn't run certain upgrades on multiple lists.
Yeah, they removed the unique across the board.
Ugh,
which
that was fun.
Really cool. I like that kind of stuff, but I guess it's a little bit difficult for people to try to figure out.
That was great for me. We Zach and I, we argued about forever about Savage, whether Scum got Savage or Separatist got Savage.
Well, I think it's more interesting. Like you get like, Lando. Well, no, it'd be like Han, right? Han, or you're not gonna get like Resistance crew Han, or if you do Chopper on Han, you're not gonna get them in Republic, which is kind of rough. And then like who gets the 1 C3PO out of the 3 factions that can take them R2D2?
I love it though. I don't care. Like that would have made, especially because we didn't have Boy Luke last year, so
right
now we do. That would have ruined everything.
I like that restriction. We'll see how it goes without it. It makes list building a little bit
easier
and less fun.
Unless you're the Pittsburgh team, and I want to
wild cards, man.
Is this the list they just don't play? Like, is that what this is? Like, they have Vader with prime thrusters.
Yeah, it's
Malice.
Defender Vader, Malice, prime thrusters.
And then Defender Skull Scarus.
Yep.
Volt. Of all defenders you could choose to, you choose Volt. Like,
he's an I-5,
I guess. But you have Juke, Elusive, and FCS. And is Elusive ever gonna, like, it's a one-time trigger, right? Like,
well,
it's a 4K.
You could do the 2K. The 2K's red, and the 1 and 2 hards are red.
How often are you doing that with a defender?
The
83
2K you'll
shipless.
see occasionally.
Okay.
But yeah, I would much rather. I would not have taken Vault
Elusive.
Scares.
I would have taken.
I don't know what they pair that into. Like,
Yeah, give me
like
wrestler.
yeah,
Right? Like,
same
just give me
same
wrestler.
points, same loadout points, but you can take Diamond War on missiles.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Palp Vizier, which is so it's a double defender Palp list because it's 2016 all over again.
Yeah. And you guys are running RAC, Tomex, Reimer, Fair Off, and Deathfire.
Yep, that is a solid Empire list. It's well, yeah, you'll see something very similar to it when we go cover PAX.
Yeah. So
You will actually see exactly it is the top 2 list, but don't worry about that yet.
all right, the next faction is Scum, and we knew this was going to be all over the board, but we have one running a notorious Mando Dace Bonar. Like that's wow. And then we have Joy with Ions Mando Optics, which I guess kind of makes sense. I guess because
yeah, I mean he gets his one-time wedge ability.
Yeah,
or
and
twice.
Then Dirge with marksmanship, ion cannon, and contraband because you don't want proton cannons.
Don't want to do damage.
And then plasmas RB11, which is typical, right?
It should be, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Manaru with Garsaxon, expert handling, Contra, and R5P8. Which
I assume the ion cannon is there to feed more things into Manaru. Because Manaru is the one thing that like hits super hard. Like that's the secret in Scums, that Manaru just hits like a truck. It hits harder than pretty much any other ship you're gonna bring. And then people look at it and they're like, I don't feel like killing Manaru. It's kind of like an investment. I can kill off all these other Scum ships. And then they just get hammered. But in this one, you just kind of kill that Manaru and not going to do a crazy amount of damage.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm excited about the expert handling Manaru. I guess it makes sense, right?
Well, you have 2 points left over, and like you could do Cutthroat if you really want another R5P8 charge or something. But that expert handling, I've used that so much. Bring back the 1.0 Bump Masters days where you're just like, oh, cool, I'm going to one hard barrel roll, and it doesn't matter what you're doing because I'm going to block every single one of your maneuvers.
You know, it's really sad. We aren't getting any Namlum in this. I love some Namlum.
Namlum is silly.
The other reason they might bring that ion cannon, I guess, is because of Dace, right? Like, I mean, you got to run them next to each other, but you can technically use that, and then you could still use Manaru to take one of them off, and
you don't have to run.
Let them ionize for the next time. You
don't have to run Dace next to people. Dace is just out to range
0
3.
to 1.
0 to 3.
0 to 3. Okay.
Yep. If an enemy ship has 0 to 3 of Dace, you don't even have to be by your buddy.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was 1 to 3 or 0 to 1, but
no. He actually has a semi-legitimate ability if you have any ion in there, which is good. And like again, Manaru hits like a truck. You just make a priority to kill Manaru. You'll probably win that game.
So with Dirge, are you taking the target lock when you shoot the ion cannon because you want to ensure that it hits? I don't know.
It'd be just as good as the focus, right?
Can I ask why in this list you just wouldn't run Cad Bane? Like I get it's an I4, but you're throwing ion cannon. You don't care about the bullseye as much.
I guess Dirge is a little bit more survivable. But yeah, Cad Bane would also fit exactly in with Joy and Wreck Off and Dace Bonearm.
And
granted, Dirge does fit with Lima. But yeah, it's the extra points.
Yep. And you can get rid of the stress. And then Manaru has more bullshit to go after.
But at I5, though, like if you manage to actually ping someone with the ion cannon, you can strip their locks off at I5. And there's a lot of I5 that has munitions. Like Zori.
It's a single modded I5. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. We're gonna move on.
Listen, it's come down to a good place. I don't know what you want.
You say Cad Bane. That's what you do. I think the in this list, I think Cad Bane makes a little bit more sense. But I get
In this
why
list, I
you
would have
want
brought
that five.
Sarasu instead of Dirge.
All right, I guess fine. I hate Sarasu though, but
You just slap an ion cannon HLC into Sarasu and just be like, cool, now I can actually hit. Or have an I5 ion cannon with rerolls.
all right. The next list is 5
Fangs.
5 Fangs, all with Fearless and Beskar. So very easy to remember. I guarantee you somebody will run this list at least twice because this looks like a fun list to run.
You see it pop up like occasionally. Occasionally, you'll also see Fenrau, and one of them goes down to Bosk. But yeah, Tor Funds in I3. The rest are I4. The Mando Royal Guards literally have no ability because their ability references medium and large base ships. So you're literally bringing them because you're not bringing generic Fang fighters.
Yep. Somebody said, I want to run a bunch of Fangs. This is what we're going to do.
Someone's like, man, I own 5 Fangs.
I own 5.
When am I going to play all of them?
This weekend, baby.
Fangs.
I do. I own 6, actually.
Jeez, I think I own 4.
It's only because I got them. They came in lots. All right. And then the next list is
Pittsburgh, man.
Dengar with Greedo. The title spare parts canister, which I could see. I guess I could actually kind of see that.
Get that R4 P8 charge back.
Yeah.
Or break locks at I6.
Yeah, so I definitely can see it. I don't like their Lima guy with Magpulse still or so.
Well, yeah, okay. So
nope, no thank you.
Yeah, Dengar's got Lima with dorsal Magpulse R4, Tarok, which is the typical one you see, marksmanship, fearless, Beskar optics. Z95 boss, marksmanship, deadman switch, and then Cad Bane. He almost had it right. Marksmanship, proton cannons, contraband title, and then proton bombs. That is the crit heavy Cad Bane. I want to drop some bombs. I have Dengar, I have Tarok, Lima. I'm just going to be mean to you kind of stuff. And then obviously I'm bringing my scum list that I've been playing for that whole season to Rust Cup because I got to be on this team and I got to bring something. And it's super, super fun. The resistance lists bring me sadness.
Well, you know,
in so many different ways.
Nate's running one of these, right? Like Nate runs resistance.
I'm assuming he's going to be the one flying Cleveland's resistance list, and it seems like a very Nate list with
BB-8
5 I5s.
Cannon, baby.
Got 2 points. Yeah, so you got Elo with Crackshot R68. 9 Nub with Elusive, Pattern Analyzer, BB-8, all that makes sense. And he's got Underslung Blaster Cannon, because you have 2 points left over. Zori with Wartime Magpulse Plasmas, which I can respect. Lulo with Marksmanship, Lone Wolf, and Shield. Typically, you would see like a Predator or Ferrosphere or something right there. And then you got Jarek with Concussion missiles, Overton Modulator, Starting Computer, and the title.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, like I know you're not super high on Jarek per se.
He's okay.
I do like Jarek. I don't actually have a problem with Jarek. Why is the title not on here though?
Because I didn't bother listing titles that are obvious.
All right. Well, I was just thinking, in this case, like instead of Zori, you could run something else. But they're obviously going for all I5. That's
5 I5s.
And this is the easiest way in Resistance to do this. But like, I don't know. Temin is an I4, but it has free boost, so I don't know. I get Jaeger. I don't hate Jaeger personally.
Mine has a Procket.
You know, you have Jaeger in yours.
In my Lando list, yeah, he's got a Procket and targeting computer, and that's all the points he can bring. But man, does he go there, get that double modded Procket, and leave? And by leave, I mean blows up. He leaves life.
Yeah, the next one.
They load their 9 Nub in Ohio.
Yep. And which I guess is fine, right? Because it's a 5-point ship. Neonub is it's fine. Like I don't like him for 5 points. I think I hate him because he always gets me. But you just got to run fire sprays against him. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it doesn't
so
matter.
like every resistance list that exists, apparently, this has Elo. It says Heroic, BB Astro, and Mag Pulse, which you don't typically see, which is kind of cool, but you're not going to really get that double modded Mag Pulse off. Like, there's nothing to coordinate you that, and there's not like you can do like the talent roll, like it's good later on, but because you can just like talent roll behind and pick the lock, and next turn get the double mod. But that seems like an awful lot for Mag Pulse, which is generally used in like the opening engagement, right? Then they have a 9 nub with Heroic, Pattern Analyzer, BB Astromech, and HLC. You'll occasionally see like R6D8, but they decided they don't own a
nobody
copy of
wanted them.
R6D8,
Yep,
so
they want a
they're not
BB.
bringing it in this list.
They wanted BBs and BB8s. That's all they
Yeah.
wanted.
So the next one, Snap with Heroic, Ferrosphere, and BB Astro. Then Kari Kun with Ferrosphere, BB8, so you can do that system phase 1 hard. And then Merle, my boy, with Starbird and Ferrosphere. Man, don't land in someone else's arc. Merle already flies way too close to the sun for most people's comfort.
Yeah, Starbird makes sense to some extent, right? Because
Unless they did a blue maneuver, because they just clear the strain.
Yeah,
Because
well,
you move at 1, so like it's a real tough call. Like you can just give it to someone, but if you land in someone's arc, you get it as well. And then if they did a blue maneuver, you're just screwed.
And then the last one is Elo with Ferrosphere and HLC. Snap with R68 HLC. Doza with clusters and
Vanessa
R3.
Doza with cluster missiles R3.
Yep, because you could just anyway. Jess with an why does Jess have ATP on it?
Jess Pava doesn't have a droid. Notorious killer of droids, Jess Pava didn't bring him. HLC and automated target priority.
That's all right.
Go on. You can say that is the worst Jess Pava build you've ever seen in your life.
I'm no offense, Pittsburgh. No offense. like, oh my god. Like I cannot. Why would you do that to Jess? Jess, like now you're just telling Jess you got to shoot BS at range 0, at range 1. You're never gonna be able to keep time on
Granted,
target
with
Jess.
like automated targeting priority, because you can choose which weapon, you can choose the bullseye for HLC. If you manage to have someone at range 2 or 3 in your bullseye and they didn't reposition for some reason, so you could choose that weapon instead of shooting the person at range 0. And then you got Nimi
with ATP again. Like,
yep, HLC, ATP, and R3, which is not a Nimi build I've ever seen in my life. It does have 4 HLCs in it though, so if it matches up into the median, like a bunch of Padme arcs and stuff, I'm sure it will hit harder.
If you don't lose Nimi for Jess. All right, let's just keep going. I guess that's a neat trick. I did not know that you could choose HLC if you have somebody in the bullseye over the range 0.
Yeah, because you choose your weapons, so that's why you can still shoot someone that's like target locked with ATP, and then like shoot a missile at them or whatever.
So I'll give the list a little bit more credit. You better be a damn good flyer though. Outside, I just don't understand the Doza build. I don't get it. Like, it's just
you get double locks.
Yeah, but I could just take barrage rockets.
Yeah, yeah. You don't get rerolls out the back though. I don't know.
You guys ran Ray, Elo, Temin, BB-8, and Merle.
Yep, Matt Corser, fellow co-host of Bassman Benchwarmer. He's running that list. He's just going with Death Ray, and he's just going with Death Ray, just like HLC Elo, HLC Snap, good old BB-8 and Merle. who we decided to put on heroic because every time for 3 games in a row, my Merle got one shot at 4 health. I was tired of that. I put it on heroic. In the test game that we played with him, his Merle got one shot. He's upset about it, so he put on heroic.
I mean, it does trigger, so I
Uh,
can see it, I guess.
he flies real close to the sun, so he's taking 4 dice.
Well,
If you just miss that block barely with Merle, he's a little questionable.
he's dead. That's what it is. All right, let's move on to FO. Some very interesting choices here. So we
They're
have
all like slight variants off each other. It's kind of weird.
we have a quick draw here that's gonna just burn down. And then you have a Kylo silencer, which
Predator Fanatical Pattern Analyzer FCS Special Forces Gunner quick draw. It's a very aggressive quick draw.
Yeah. And then the silencer Kylo has extreme maneuvers, marksmanship, sensors, and protorps, which I do wonder if you could just strip those protorps down and then have a little bit more aggressive of a shot. I don't know.
That's actually the build that Cody runs. I like it. I mean, you're approaching. You should get there pretty fast with sensor scramblers. You can take the lock. You got 2 force to shoot a protorp. It's like Luke. And then, extreme maneuvers is always good. There's a reason it costs like 8 points.
Yep. Yeah. Blackout with lone wolf sensor scramblers and prockets. I prefer my Predator on Blackout, but I guess you can.
Yeah, but it's also a 4-ship list, so you can get away with it with lone wolf.
Away with it. Yep. And then you don't have to have bullseye more than once. So. Then you have Lingava with fanatical squad leader and
automated target priority, man.
What?
Something in the water that's in Ohio and it's on fire.
Well, if the last one was Pittsburgh, this one is fucking Cleveland.
Yeah, okay, Lingava.
So why do we have Lin and not Mal? First off, and why the fuck do you have ATP just because you have the extra point? Like you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trading your ion cannon.
You know what the sad thing is that it has squad leader, right? So you can actually just equip BioAxe crypt codes for 1 point. You can do that instead of automated target priority.
Yeah, which would be
it's even more egregious.
Yeah. Whatever. We're gonna move on because
I mean, Lingava, you get that slamming quick draw to shoot in your face with no mods.
Yep.
I mean, actually, like a slamming Kylo does seem terrifying, right? Because you can sensor scramblers, decloak 5 straight slam, 5 straight. Oh, that's right. You can only do it on the SFs.
Yeah.
And the FOs. Why did they do this to me?
Like, man, just give Cody this list. Would you just give Cody this list? Let him. Yes, because you're gonna slam quick draw and then you're gonna take a shield. So I get what they're doing, right? Quick draw slams, takes the shield, and then gets to shoot right away. But it's all unmodded. Like you can't take
Well, I guess you have squad leader and Lingava, so you can have a single mod if you want.
Can you pattern analyze? Can you slam into a red maneuver or no?
Yes. Yeah.
So you could pattern analyze with that, or no?
Well, they're both the same right after you move.
Because you got to know that. That's a question I want to know. Because I still think this is silly, ridiculous list. I don't think that they're running. But if you can do that, I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat can answer this question, or somebody find Maui. Where's Maui? But if you can technically pattern analyzer your slam for the red,
you should be able to.
Then you should be running Proud Tradition instead of Fanatical. And
you still
you would have a double modded quick draw after you do your weird crazy maneuver.
No. Proud Tradition just lets you take the focus action as your action, even if you have 2 or less stress. It doesn't give you a focus after doing the red. So you're still, if you do the pattern analyzer, you still get an action.
I thought you could take a target lock and then pattern analyzer a focus.
Right, because that'd be your normal action.
Yep.
The focus would be.
Mm-hmm.
But like you lose the shield before you would go to your action step. But also your action step is slamming anyways.
Okay.
So you do like a one straight slam, one hard, take an action, shoot with quick draw. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
I
3
don't
hard, 3 sloop pattern analyzer in action.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. We're just gonna move on.
Yeah, on to the next
like
one.
when you whoever runs that list, will you interview them? And I just want to understand why they brought that list.
Just be like, hey, I see that you took Cody's list and then you stripped out 2 very important pieces of Cody's list. What's up with that?
No, I don't care about. I just want to know why. Well, I want to know why they have APT. That's what I want to know. But I really want to understand what the interaction between Lynn and Quick Draw is, like what they're thinking. So, anyway.
Yeah, so the next FO list is a Whisper Kylo. This one is Malice, Brilliant Evasion, Mag Pulse, Predator, and Sensor Scramblers, which I've never seen before. It's very...
Yeah. Usually it's concussion missiles.
Yeah. But they get Sensor Scramblers this time, so that's cool. Then you got Blackout with Fanatical, Optics, and Pattern Analyzer. And no, sensitive controls or anything. So I'm confused about the pattern analyzer and the optics, but whatever. You got Malorus with cluster missiles. LeHughes with marksmanship, FCS, Magpulse, and Special Forces gunner. So it's a double I5 Magpulse list. And then you got DT with Fanatical and Electronic Baffle.
Yeah. So you can burn your shield off and then get the free mod. That's what you're doing. And if you don't die, like if you're just not dying, you're just gonna die is what's gonna happen. But you do.
There's like so many points left over, and that DT is just sitting there.
And then the last one, I guess it's not the last one, but the second to last one is Von Reg with Predator, Daredevil, Deuterium. We've kind of seen that. Then we have Instinctive Aim, Marksmanship, Concussion, Advanced Optics, Failsafe, Kylo, which, all right,
that makes
I can kind of see that. Like,
yeah.
Concussion missiles sometimes don't hit. But then we have Malorus with Magpulse, so that's correct. LeHughes has Proud Tradition, Pattern Analyzer, and Special Forces Gunner. So that's
DT.
Yep, that's the standard-ish, the new LeHughes. If you don't want to run barrage rockets, just run that.
Yep.
It's a little bit more versatile, in my opinion, but
if your opponent remembers that Proud Tradition has a downside, that's really bad.
And then you have DT 798 with Deuterium, which we've seen a million times. So
yeah, it seems like a competent FO list, pretty solid. And then our FO list is Cody's FO list that he's been flying for 3 years or whatever. Silencer, Kylo, Blackout, Rush, and Magpulse, Malorus.
Yeah. All right. Then on to Republic.
Man, these Republic lists. Let me tell you about the innovations here.
Yeah. So we have SLC Oddball, Anakin, and Jag, and then we have Padme with Protorps, passives, and marksmanship. And then you have Build Your Own Wolf with expert handling, VTG, and R4P, which I actually do not hate. I don't know if I think that's the best wolf, because Wolfpack sometimes does trigger, in fairness.
Yeah, if you're doing... I wouldn't have went down to customizable wolf there, and if I did, it would have dedicated on it. I feel like you are losing out on offense just so you can have R4P. Instead of Q7 and a white barrel roll, which you probably aren't doing too much with Wolf.
Or they are. Maybe they...
Yeah, maybe they just barrel roll every turn with Wolf so I can kill them in 2 rounds instead of 3.
So yeah. What is the next... Okay, so we're going to skip down to the third one because the third one is identical except for
Yep, it's the Padme triple arc list that everyone's been flying.
yeah, it
Way to go,
has
Pittsburgh.
non-build your own wolf for it. So there's that. What is the acorn one that they decided to
Akron
run?
as SOC Anakin,
You gotta
SOC
say acorn.
Kickback.
Acorn's better. Give them an acorn for me.
LeBron's from Akron. That's the only
Cool.
thing people know about Akron. Yeah, SOC Anakin, SOC Kickback, SOC Axe, SOC Jag, the Pro Torp Padme, and Predator on Slider.
Yep, because you're gonna
Just
get that
to
off a
spite
lot.
me.
Yep.
I am the only person bringing dedicated in this tournament, and I brought enough for one per team. It's easy.
Hey, you. Nobody believes in it like you do.
I know. So I have to fly just the super janky PVE Republic list, 6-ship Republic list. I'm doing SOC Anakin because I need an I6. Honestly, I would debate between that and like Jag, but I6s seem nice.
Yep.
Because it's me, I'm running CLT Obi with Chopper, Marksmanship, and Sync Council. Contrail with Sync Council are 3 dedicated in seismic charges. Y-Wing Oddball, because I'm probably still the only person in the world that plays them. That has Pro Torps, R4, Sync Council, and dedicated. And then I got Slider and Boost, both with dedicated. 4 dedicated. So, man, you've never seen Obi-Wan roll 7 blanks in a roll on 1 roll. Let me tell you.
It will happen.
I can't re-roll the dice that many times. It's up to 6. Unless it's range 3. Maybe it can do it. Yeah, I got a lot of flack for choosing Y-Wing Oddball, but in this list, I'd rather have a proton. Like, wouldn't you want to have a proton torpedo shot than just a 3-die shot? Right? That makes sense. In my mind, like, I could just shoot 4 dice.
You can, as long as if they kill your oddball, you punish the fuck out of them. That's all I gotta say.
Sure. I mean, I have 8 health instead of 10, but I also have 4 dedicated. Well, 3 dedicated because one of it's on him, and then like a jam with Chopper.
Yeah. It's a. How about this? I'm gonna call it a gutsy call. It is definitely a gutsy call to take that over oddball and a.
In this list, it makes sense in my mind.
Yeah. So last one we have is Separatist, and I don't know.
I'm sure you love these.
Just don't care about flying Separatists right now. So the first one
I love it.
is Django, Sunfok, Dirge, and DST81, which I don't hate this list, except for Sunfok just doesn't make sense to me because and there's no VTG on Django, so you're not even like you get 2 I6s and an I5.
Yeah, Django has Dooku, FTC, Contraband, Boba, right? So that's sure, that's fine. Like I get
it's not, but that's whatever.
But you know this DIS T81, that's not.
No, I know. I just realized that that's like
that's not SOC. That is the customizable. I brought Predator in my intercept booster config. DIS T81. Because I'm gonna steal a calculate token from no one because no one has calculate tokens in this list.
He's gonna give you a free 3 points. That's what that is. Because you can't.
I just couldn't. I don't own a HMP for 3 points, so I'm gonna bring a Tri-Fighter. I don't understand that.
I don't either. Sunfak is your typical aggro Sunfak, is what I would call him.
Marksmanship,
because he has the marksmanship and predator. It's not the targeted computer because I run targeted computer on mine, but mine is not that. Mine is not. It's not.
Ensnared Gravitic, I would assume.
Okay, I gotta stop here because you're right. You could run an HMP and you could run Hondo if you wanted. You could put Kalani cluster missiles or something on. Anyway, again, this feels like, hey, I'm bringing the list. Don't care to fly, or we're only going to fly this if somebody gives me a separatist list.
Hey, I own 4 separatist ships. Here they are.
Yeah, like this, like in fairness, like this list could do decent against a other separatist list because you do have 2 I6s, but if your Sunfac gets pinned down, you're just out of luck. But the next one, look, the next one has tracking fob on Django.
Double tracking fob list, baby.
And Volan.
Man, take those unlimited range target locks on my boss. What a shame.
And then 2 Onderon oppressor.
Yeah, so it's Django with Dooku, Protons, tracking fob, and Boba. Don't believe in contraband. Volan Das, marksmanship, tracking fob, shield. Same as above. Don't believe in contraband. 2 double Onderon oppressors with energy shell charges, discords, novice tax, proton bombs, and munitions failsafe.
Yeah, because you know what would be really good right there? Delayed fuses.
I was going to say delayed fuses. No one's bringing delayed fuses in this tournament. They would rather have munitions failsafe.
Like, on those Onderon oppressors, 100% you should be running delayed fuses. You got you're just
you can side slip.
And then here you go. You got Django. Why do I not have delayed fuses on Django too? Like, you know how much like area denial you could have? You could literally deny part of a board if you wanted to. Hey, whatever. Okay. That's a list there, folks. That's a list. If that list gets any wins, I want to know. And then you have
4-0 with that list.
Django, Zam, and Dirge, and you have Notorious Django with Savage, Contraband, Boba title.
Which makes sense.
That's okay. I would prefer the Notorious on Zam if I'm gonna run it, but it's whatever. It's fine.
No, this one has marksmanship, much like the 2 other Han Solos.
Yeah. Well, somebody likes marksmanship, and Dooku, and then bombs, proton bombs, contraband, and delayed fuses. And then proton
I lied. There's
cannon.
delayed fuses in this tournament. But
yeah, you did lie. Protons, contraband, and seismics on Dirge, which that's typical. That's you could in this list. I actually would not run the contraband or the seismics. I would run Lone Wolf, but
I agree
because it's only 3 ships. There's no reason to not give him a free reroll all the time.
And then Mark Rawberg is playing ours, Django, Zam, and Dirge as well, because we didn't bother to put any effort into CIS list building yet. So he went with, well, I'm bringing 3 ships, so I'm just going to get a bunch of extra damage on bombs. So he has Django with Dooku, FTC, and thermals. And that takes up all 22 points. 3 upgrades.
Okay.
Then he's got Zam with Notorious, Savage, Contraband, and Boba Fett. And then Dirge with Lone Wolf and Proton Cannons. But he still brought the seismic charges because easier paths to flank Zam and kill her? I don't know.
All right, so no offense to Mark, but Mark, I want to know, Mark. I want to know if you ever get to use your FTC on Django for you, or if it gets popped every single time you run that.
I'm sure he's only going to fly this list once. That is because we get bonus points or kudos or whatever for flying one of each faction. Just like I'm probably going to fly my Republic list maybe once.
I just want to know if you get to use FTC for you, or if your opponent's smart enough to kill your FTC.
It's range control.
I'm just
First
asking
turn, 1
the
hard.
question because I'm sorry. Like it. Anyway, I just want to know.
Yep. So that's the Rust Cup list. I'm excited for Rust Cup. I love the first Rust Cup we went through, and man, am I excited. I love team tournaments, and I like the selection choices a little bit better than NCX. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could talk Greg into adopting it. You never know. We have till
I think
next
that'd be
season.
really hard to do in person because that would require you to or not in person lists, because we're running in with set lists for that week, right? So you would have to set the list and then do that, and that's
No, we wouldn't want to do that. Never mind. I
Janky.
changed my mind.
Yeah.
Don't do that. All right. Well, let's move on to our pattern analyzer segment where we're going to look at some store champs and PAX Unplugged. So we are going to start tonight's pattern analyzer segment out. Before PAX, there was a I want to cover this. Because there's a Yoda. And we're going to cover it, and no, Desi, it's not just because it's you, though your name on it does help me make a decision. But there's a Yoda. And these lists here like bring joy to my heart. Like these are like some crazy, I guess the middle list is not quite crazy, but because we've seen it before, but like these are some choices here, you know.
I like how you chose 2 store champs, and you're just like, look, Scum won 2 of them. Take that, Alex.
Dude, there was only like 4 other store champs, and like out of them, like there's 2 or 3 of them that didn't even have lists. So, this store champ specifically had a top cut of 4, but there was like 25 players, I think 23 to 25 players playing in this. So, it was a little bit bigger store champ out in Ontario, Canada at Flint's CCG. I'm not quite sure how Rye James ended up in the cut because he was lower. They were lower. So it must have been some people dropped.
2 people in the top 4 dropped because they didn't want to play.
So probably because they already had their invites. So with that being said, Alex, you can take the winning list because
this is
tailored for you.
It's a Scum list that won. Reese James here. So Han Solo won a store champ. I mean, he's won many store champs, so this is Scum Han Solo, and that's not acceptable. You have Han Solo with Trick Shot, The Child, Mandalorian, Greedo, Contraband, Engine Upgrade, and the Falcon title. You have seen, like, this is kind of the de facto Scum Han build. Like, this is kind of what everyone's been perpetuating for a bit. You see it have some minor success here or there, but they pulled it off. It's got old.
I get to roll 2 dice. Ooh, I get to roll 3, maybe 3. Ooh,
yeah, range 1, baby. Look at my Falcon roll 3 dice in range 1. No, I mean, just get the trick shots off, get the stress going. You got old Tarok with Fearless Marksmanship, Mando Optics, and Beskar. It's pretty standard Mandalorian, pretty standard Tarok. They have Lima Kai with Dorsal and Plasma Torse, just to piss me off, as if I was already not upset with Han winning. Then you got Dirge with Fearless Proton Cannons Contraband, pretty standard Dirge, and then Bosk with Expert Handling Marksmanship. So you have, like, if you're going to bring those pieces, those are generally the builds you're going to use, right? And then you just have to fly your ass off to win this tournament. So congratulations to Reese. You know, I'm glad a guy from the U.S. went to Canada and won, because when we played in Michigan, the guy from Canada won ours. So vengeance.
Yeah. Right. The next list we have is a Republic list with Oddball SOC, Anakin, and Kickback SOC. Then Contrail with Predator, R4P, Besh, and Proton Bombs. Broadside with Proton Bombs, Ion Cannon, Matchstick with Teflon Belly Rub, and Ion Cannon and Seismics. And do you just like run into the obstacle on purpose, take the damage, then drop a bomb?
You know, Teflon Belly Run costs 1 point nowadays. And, you know, I don't want to say you can bring delayed fuses because we just had that joke. But, man, you can really just bring delayed fuses at Teflon. You can shoot the Ion Cannon turret because it is a special attack. So if you do go on something like a gas cloud, You get a strain, which is a reroll for matchstick, technically. And then if you get ions or whatever, so I guess that's a neat trick you can do. It's something. I've never seen that before in my life, and I think it's actually just kind of funny because it works. It's probably the best ship that can work with is matchstick and gas cloud specifically because you don't want to take damage. So that's hilarious. Then broadside's a solid 3-point piece. That contrail is a little bit iffy to me. I find it a little bit difficult to line up bullseyes with contrail, actually, because it's a red roll, and you gotta, when you do a boost, you can link it into a lock, which is generally like you can spend the lock to change a blank to a hit or a focus to a hit. You generally don't need the reroll from Predator. But no, 3 points. Might as well spend on a Predator instead of a thing that can help defensive rerolls.
Well, in your case, you should stop taking dedicated because it doesn't help you. So
there's a guy on the Reddit, the X-Wing Reddit, who's just like, yeah, you should bring dedicated on this list. I triggered it 3 times in one tournament and saved myself 2 results. And I'm just like, how do you trigger it only 3 times in one tournament?
Yeah.
I trigger it like 3 times in 3 turns with one ship. Like, I don't even have to be next to it. It's out to range too.
All right. What did Desi run?
Man of my heart. Okay, so SOC Anakin, SOC Obi, they can, spend the force to help each other out. Anakin with the rolls, Obi-Wan with the boosts. You have Shakti with Brilliant Evasion, Chopper, which is hilarious. It's got Yoda with Brilliant Evasion, Patience, Shield Upgrade. And then Lumi with Patience, R7A7, CLT. So anytime you would spend a force, like with Anakin for rolling or Obi-Wan for boosting, you can spend Yoda's force to like recharge it essentially. The Patience, I would assume, helps out a lot. You do a lot of evades, right? You can it's it's hard to explain. Like there's so much that like you can possibly do going on. Like Shakti can hold evades if needed. You can use Yoda to hold additional tokens with Shakti because Yoda can spend the force. Like Lumi reduces their thing. When Lumi spends the force, you can keep using Yoda to come back. You just got to keep Yoda having arc on something, which is interesting. Man, that is for Idas is a lot of effort. Like mentally, and I feel like the offense would be a little bit low, but man, this kind of seems like it's a pain to kill. Just because you got 2 ships with 3 force and an evade, or possibly 2, depending on how you set it up. Luminara providing defensive support if they're not in bullseye. So it's
it's
crazy.
Do not get killed list. Like, and you got to own 4
4 Edas.
So I don't think I actually do own.
So
4.
that's
I own
what
12.
That's 16 health, and then another one on Yoda. So you got 17 health in your 5-ship list.
I mean, hey, if you want to roll greens all day long, this list is not an Alex list because you would just lose this.
I'm actually a little bit surprised Shakti doesn't have like patience.
Yeah, patience. I don't know. Brilliant Evasion does make sense, except for you got to spend the force for it, and then you're down a force, and I don't know.
Brilliant makes sense if you have like 4 or like 5 green dice that you're rolling. But like mathematically, it's not a good upgrade that triggers frequently, unless you can force it to trigger by changing blanks to focuses, like with like Kid Fisto or Ayla Sakura.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to Denmark. ZZ Games had a tournament this weekend. 1-4-0. You're gonna love that list, Alex. 1-4-0, and then 4-3-1. There was some there was some uniqueness, but not enough to cover more than a couple lists. So the winner was Mr. Nelson. And Alex, there is a very unique ship that we don't see played in Scum with 3 Fang fighters.
Yeah, so I actually sent this list to Zach because he's been trying to make a Rook cast list work. And he likes that build, so there's something positive. Also, this guy's name is Thorbjorn, so that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard that name before, actually,
We
like
have,
in regards to X-Wing, so that's really cool. Winning with Scum, you got 3 Fang fighters and Rook. So you got Tarok with Fearless Marksmanship, Optics, Beskar. Joy Rakoff, Ion Torps, Beskar. Again, generally these things that you see. Cad Solus, Lone Wolf, Electronic Baffle, Beskar. That's an interesting choice, yeah. If you have Cad off to the side, sure, Lone Wolf's pretty nice. I'm not sure about the Baffle. I mean, you get 2 points, right? So you don't really have much else to do with them. And then Rook.
Fuses.
You could put delayed fuses.
Right,
Rook
sorry.
cast. We got Clan Training, The Mandalorian, VTG, Mando Optics, Contraband, and the Config. Which is something like Zach and I have kicked around a little bit. We're just still trying to put pieces around Rook. He believes that Rook is a solid piece still. I told him that I've never had a problem ever killing a Rook cast, so maybe. But his Rooks apparently don't die.
It's just I3.
Yeah, but that's like good for Rook.
Like the problem here, like so if you think about it, like in comparison to like a Django and 4 list, or a Django and 3/4s list, that's kind of what you're seeing. But this Rook is an I3, so either you're putting Rook in the center, and are you just taking the Mandalorian every time for the reinforce, the white reinforce? Like, is that what you're doing? I don't know. I don't understand how this build 100% works.
I mean, you have you got rerolls with optics, right? You have Rook cast's ability, which also works for VTG, by the way, because it's just when you're strained, so you can convert on both shots, which is nice.
Yep.
And you have Clan Training, so if there is someone in range 1 of you, you can't take that red focus. Like, you don't take the white reinforce. Someone rolls up at range 1, take the Clan Training. Maybe you optics them the turn before, and then you just delete a ship.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, if I have higher initiative ships, you have to be very careful with Rook. Because, I mean...
I wouldn't put 3 Fangs.
Kill you.
I wouldn't put 3 Fangs around Rook. Just because I don't think they produce enough offense or stopping power to enable Rook to do Rook things. But like, you know, he's found a way, right?
So how much is Old Turok?
5.
Isn't Fen 5 too, or is Fen 6?
Fen 6. Yep. Fen in Rebels is 5.
Yeah, that must be what I'm thinking of.
But yeah, man, you got 13 points to mess around with there, right? Because Rook's 7. Yeah, so I don't think 3 Fangs would be the way I would do it. But
I mean, because you could replace 2 of them with Dirge and Cad.
you can replace Tarak with Manaru.
Yeah, there you go. Dirge, Cad, Manaru, Rook. I could see that. That I could kind of see. And
Zach and I actually did a list with like Rook, Manaru, Afra, Bosk, and we're just like, maybe this will work. It'd be kind of interesting to see. Maybe we'll whip it out at some point.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Is by Kylo Renee. Here we have Yvonne Verlaine again, showing back up with clusters, chopper, dorsal, boy hull. So standard that. Then we have Horton Psalm. This is oh my god, this is definitely a Sean list right here. And this is dorsal.
You say it's a Sean list just because that's Horton.
Cluster. Yeah, I do, but then you have four Y-Wings. And then Dutch with hopeful, dorsal, plasmas, R4, and bomblet. And then, of course, we got Lando with hopeful. Okay, like we have hopeful, Nia Nub, K2SO, and Ezra and the title. Like anyway, we could still put Bistan if we wanted to. But I guess this probably makes you more survivable because you could take the calculate for yourself. Plus, you have the force if you want.
I'd say this is more for helping out the Y-Wings do offense because you can K2SO them like a calculate so they can have additional mods, or like if they shoot the cluster missile twice or something, because you can Lando ability Dutch, so you can give Dutch like the focus and like a couple locks for other people, give K2SO out there and keep Lando having like an evade force if need be. So I don't know. I just don't. Good on them for running, for taking four Y-Wings and Lando baby. And going 3 and 1. I don't get it. A lot of dorsals. I mean, there's a lot of like arcs and a lot of multi-shots. You know, you got a lot of Europe missiles. So I guess that's appropriate for Denmark.
All right, let's move on to PAX Unplugged. We're going to talk the extended tournament first. Had 16 people playing it. Did not do a top cut. Just did your standard 4 rounds. So I just threw all four lists of the top in there because
sure,
why not, right? The first list we have has intimidation on Keo, right? Okay, I guess I'll read the list. It's got Han, the standard build out Han, standard build out Luke with boy. Then we have 3 intimidations, Keo with intimidation and concussion missiles, and then Zeb with intimidation and the child, and then on top of that you have Sabine with intimidation.
I mean, there's a reason why intimidation was banned, right? Because range 0 shots and you're reducing their agility.
Yep. But does intimidation work on Zeb? Because it's not range 0 anymore. Or is it just that you get the ability?
His ship ability is different than his crew ability. His pilot ability is that he cancels crits before hits.
Oh, well.
The best salvage carrier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like intimidation is silly, and it's only 3 points because they just banned it immediately instead of like trying to point it out of existence and then ban it. There's actually a list I was thinking about running if I would do an extended thing. It would have like lots Rozzy in there in the YV with intimidation and just like shoving it everywhere. It's disgusting. I also miss my Lancers, and those Lancers are silly.
Yeah. All right. What did the runner-up have, Alex?
The runner-up, also a Rebel list. It has Han, the Bistan Perceptive Engine Upgrade 1. It has Sabine with Beskar Reinforced Plating, and then 2 E-Wings. One of them is worth their points. Let me tell you, the other one is a lot of points for not a lot of survivability. So Gavin, Darklighter, the 5-point E-Wing, R4 Shield Upgrade FCS Pattern Analyzer Marksmanship. Mind you, neither of these E-Wings have torpedoes, so you're just using their abilities to get locks and just keeping them. And then 6-point Corn Horn in an E-Wing, R4 Shield Upgrade Pattern Analyzer Predator FCS.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, you get more crits with Gavin's ability of Han Solo, which is kind of cool. And your E-Wings, because they generally are kind of overcosted. You put the shield upgrade, now they're 7 health.
They're better for, they're better for salvage if you have to deal with that, right?
The unfortunate thing is because you're running R4, you don't get the pattern analyzer off the one heart, right? So
That's true. I never thought about that.
yeah, it's I believe so, right? Because it's not like a reference kind of thing. Because it's after you execute a red maneuver instead of what's on your dial, like Covenel. So yeah, but if they do a red maneuver, man, their dial is all blue and 1 white hearts. So
Well, the next list is not extended at all. You could run.
it's extended. Well, we'll get into it. You can do it.
You have Boba Fett. Oh, is it the Slave One
It's the
title?
Ban of Slave 1 title, yeah.
Okay, whatever. That's not Boba Fett
Super
with Slave
strong.
1. It is good, yes, but it's delayed fuses, contraband, seismics, IG-88D, and fearless. Then you have Mando with the Razor Crest title, the Child, and Lone Wolf. And Manaru with R5P8, Punishing 1, Dead Man Switch, BT1, and Notorious. So that's also a choice that you could do.
Well, like, it's a tough call on who you shoot, right? Because you get Notorious Manaru, which is not what you want. You get the Mandalorian if you have more than one ship facing him. If you're even facing him, like he gets extra focus results, and then like Boba Fett with the Slave 1 title, just being able to swap which size he decides to turn is pretty strong. And he's also got double calculate as well, which is nice. And then the last one, they just brought all extended because they're my hero. It's a resistance list. It has Han Solo with heroic.
I like it. I like the Han Solo.
Every single one of these things is extended or banned. So you got Han Solo with heroic, Ray, and engine upgrade. I am questioning if they just don't have the title on him. I'm looking this up right now to see if they just didn't give him the title. They didn't give him the title. That's incredible. Okay, that's why that's not on there. That's rough.
It's probably just a mistake, is my guess.
Well, they banned him anyway, so they probably just like whatever. It's got Ben Tenney with trajectory simulator, agile gunner, skilled bombardier, seismics, concussion bombs, and delayed fuses, which just sounds terrifying. Ben Tenney's the one that's like after you do the turret attack. No, after you do an attack, if they're in your turret, you can give them the rattled. So after a bomb or mine detonates at range 0 to 1 of them, they take an extra crit.
Yeah. So here, let me throw a concussion missile at you, and just one
here,
forward, and have
here's
another
concussion bomb. Oh, that one went under your shields. You can take the strain or flip it face up. Also, here's an extra crit damage.
Yeah.
And then Finch Dallow, good old Bob, Perceptive Copilot, VTG, Page Tico, and Thermal Detonators to just drop more bombs. And Finch Dallow is the one you can drop it anywhere touching your base instead of just behind you. And that's hilarious. Page Tico is after you perform like a primary attack, you can drop one bomb or rotate your turret. And after you're destroyed, you can drop a bomb because the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So after you do like a primary attack, you can then rotate your turret for Page to get another VTG shot if you want extra. Or if you shot him, just drop more bombs. So when you drop thermals, you can just keep dropping more thermals. Right? So there's a lot of bombs. And that's hilarious. And then finally, you have V. Muradai, the banned TIE-Pod pilot with advanced optics and targeting computer. She's the one that got banned because she can look at your dial. You give someone the compromising intel, which during the system phase, if you're range 0 to 3 of them, you could just flip their dial face up, which is nuts.
That
And
was
then
my
also it's a
favorite.
minor effect of when they attack V or when they defend against V, they can't spend focus tokens. So you get a little mini Padme out of there.
Yeah, V was one of my favorite ships to run till the ban. I used to run V all the time in my resistance list.
Yeah, that ability is disgusting.
Yeah, so we're gonna skip Fangs Out. We're gonna jump right into the World Qualifier at PAX Unlimited.
You don't want to mention one thing about Fangs Out?
Nah, we're gonna.
The one relevant thing?
Well, we're gonna skip it, and we'll let
Okay.
the man himself introduce it.
I was just gonna
Next
say who won, but whatever.
All right, JJ won. There you go.
Yay, we did it. Our podcast has successful people.
Only 2 of you. I haven't won one yet. So
JJ won Fangs Out. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
all right. So the next one that we have is yeah, we'll talk about Fangs Out next week. That because I actually do want to cover the I want to talk a little bit about the format style, because I kind of like the format style a little bit, and I feel we might be running one of those in Michigan that Alex will be banned from.
And Cody.
Yeah, Cody probably won't come. He's already got his invite, so he don't care. You are banned though, because you play Fangs Out anyway. That's just how you play. So
yeah, every game
not,
is Fangs Out.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have Fangs Out. Well, except for it's 60 minutes. It is a 60-minute tournament, so
nice. That's even better.
Or a 60-minute round. Sorry. So anyway, we're gonna talk about the format and the stuff when they release the list next week. So for the qualifier, looks like there was some CIS that did a little bit better than Scum this time. Just saying. I'm gonna rub that in your face every time. And with the exact same damn amount of lists that the other one had, there was 75 people or 73 people.
I think it was like 73, but
total that went. So it looks like Pete dropped. I was kind of surprised. I thought Pete was gonna play from yet another Yaxby or whatever podcast. I thought he was gonna play, but it didn't look like him or Chris went and played. So
that's maybe he was running a tournament, running one of them. I don't know. That's surprising, actually. Very surprising.
And they also did essentially the 5 rounds plus then 2 more rounds the next day, and then a top cut of 4. So essentially 9 rounds total. Again, I don't know if I'm sold on that format. But we're not going to get into that tonight because that'll take too long. Really, Republic, FO, Rebels, and Empire all made it over the 50% cut. None of them were too high. Republic was a little bit higher, but we'll get to why that did better this time in a second. 350 total games played. I think that's a good chunk of games. Top 4, 2 Republic lists, 1 F, or was it 2 Republic? No, 1 Republic, 1 FO, 1 Rebel, and 1 Empire list in the top cut. When we look at top pilots, I guess it's not super surprising. The top pilots that we see, Malorus jumping up to 3, a few more FO lists than normal running. And then you have your standard. I don't know. Is there any outside of RAC? Was there really any big surprises? And even RAC's not a big surprise, honestly.
Yeah, RAC's been kind of catching on lately. No, I mean, it all seems like pretty straightforward. I see that they finally separated the Domaxes.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
They didn't tell you which one is which, but they're separate now.
Yeah. Huh.
Yep.
I have to talk to the I have to talk to him. I do wonder, because he has some of the other ones that just must be forgotten somehow. The only real surprising thing was there's only 7 Hans ran, so there you go. Not much in composition that we haven't really seen before. Other than, we'll get to the number 4, composition, which I had 3 lists that ran it. But essentially here we had Duncan Howard winning the whole thing against Velvet Buddha, which is our very own NCX friend over there.
Andrew
runs,
Block.
Yep, CFIS, making it into Top Cut, and then basically going all the way to the final table. John Grasser and B. Freeman, which I can't remember B. Freeman's real name.
Brent.
Brent, there you go.
Right?
Thank you. I think so, yeah. They did not. Nobody streamed this weekend. And we'll get into that next week when we talk with JJ about why. Very well ran event. There was a lot of I put in here more of the list because essentially there was 13 top people. Chris Appel dropped, so they had an uneven number going into day 2. So that's kind of funny. I'm not sure why he dropped, other than I think he played in one of these. Yeah, he played in the extended tournament, which I probably would have done too, because it'd be fun to do. So there we go. We have that. Let's move on. Why don't we move on to the list? And Duncan Howard taking it all the way to the end. And very happy, a little bit happy with some of the shifts that we see. Alex, what did he bring?
This was the exact same list he brought to Nova. So it has 7B Anakin with Predator R4P17 shield upgrade, Adigalia with CLT, Chopper, and Debris Gambit, letting you take that free evade if you're by an obstacle with Chopper, SOC Oddball, and then Customizable Wolf with VTG, R4P, and Expert Handling.
So this is a list. I don't know if I could run this list or not.
No, I mean, you have to be like Duncan to run something like this.
Like, I hope more people take this list, because I don't know. Like, good on him for taking this like undefeated, man. Like, that's crazy.
He only lost one game. Sorry.
Did he? No.
No, he lost one game in Nova.
Oh yeah.
With this list, and that was the Josh. So like he is just crushing it with this list.
Yeah, so I kind of wonder, is there something to that list, right? Like, needs to be deconstructed, or is it just the Duncan effect, right?
Duncan, man.
Because like that's a pretty like. You have 2 ships that can just get aced, because I guess they're initiative 4 and 5, right? But you have 2 ships that are 1 agility, and then you have 2 Jedis.
Yeah, you're not gonna like ace Wolf off the board, hopefully, because there should be tankier than that. But like Adigalia is kind of a pain, and can do useful things, right? To help, to make it so she's more survivable, right? So, like either by denying the range 1 bonus against her, or denying the range 3 attack at them, which is kind of cool. But yeah, you got to be like so cagey. You got to be really good. You got to be really good with those kinds of stuff. But to answer a question in the Twitch chat, the chopper, after you do a maneuver, you can spend a charge on chopper, take a red evade. When you have debris gambit, anytime you do a red evade, if you're at range 0 to 1 of an obstacle, you can treat it as white. So when you do the chopper charge to change the red evade, to do the red evade, if you're next to an obstacle, you can change it to white, and then you get your normal action after that. Which is why it's like, and then Chopper becomes a maniac and starts jamming everyone, and that's pretty helpful.
Yeah, it's a free jam action. So, all right, our runner-up is Andrew Block, running a RAC list with Death Troopers, Vader, Agile Gunner, Ruthless, Dauntless, and Electronic Bethel. Then we have Tomax, standard loadout, Deathfire, Reimer with Sat Salvo, Barrage Rockets, Ion Bombs, and then a reappearance of Fair-Off with 000 because you got Vader there, why not? And Ruthless. So this is an aggressive Fair-Off here.
So Andrew Block got top 4 at Crossroads with almost exactly the same list. He didn't have Fair-Off. He had Procket, Merrick, which was the fun part about it. But after, multiple discussions, especially like with Staniszewski, who was running something similar, he had Volscaris, everyone just decided, you know what? Fair-Off is still fine. And then 000 is just a free calculate because you are not taking that stress when you're by RAC.
No, because you...
But Fair-Off's really nice too because you can just kind of freely jam people. If they shoot you back, they have no token. You get a free evade. If you freely jam people, they don't have a token to spend with Darth Vader crew, so they just take auto damage. It's really, you can synergize a lot. I love this kind of list. I am a little intrigued by Major Rhymer, like the feedback ping Major Rhymer. But like this list is super fine. I mean, there's a reason why we're taking it to Rust Cup, right? This actual exact list. So
yeah. So do you think it's a good enough list that it can make top cuts all the time? Is the question. And is Fair-Off kind of what's pushing that over the edge because of how Fair-Off is working comparatively? Because you're getting that free evade essentially to some extent half the time, and you have two like chunky like healthy ships that you're running.
you have to have a little bit of practice with RAC. Just positioning wise, like he's not gonna just like die on you all of a sudden, unless you're like crazy unlucky. It's just more of like keeping him in the fight and consistent and reducing the damage you're taking, but also still getting like your ability off. So like it's a little bit of practice, and then once people realize what you should do against RAC or what you should do against the bombers, I think this list will start losing its effectiveness. But right now, I think it's a really solid list. I don't think I would take anything else in Empire if I were to go to a tournament playing Empire. It might be my Michigan speaking because of RAC, but I like it a little bit over like the Vader and Bomber kind of style lists. And it hits super hard. And like if you're good with Deathfire can do some dirty, dirty things. And people are bad against bombs, so like the more bombs you have, the better it is. But yeah, like I like the Fair-Off. I like it a lot more than Volscaris. I like it a lot more than Merrick. I know JJ will give me flack for that if I take it over Merrick or Juno. I know how much he loves those, but I like Fair-Off.
I think in this list you want that though. Like in this list, Fair-Off is there for it.
Well, yeah, that's what we were discussing. Like you're not taking the stress with 000, so you're getting a free calculate. You can freely jam people. Like as long as you're close to RAC, you can ruthless each other. Like you both have ruthless. You both have enough health to do it. The bombers, if they're not actively shooting the bombers, they're still 6 health. You can ruthless them.
Yep.
Or if one of them dies and you're still shooting, you can ruthless their dead body for extra hits.
Especially if he gets it. Anyway. Yeah. Pull out those direct hits that way, baby. All right. Next is our top 4. Which one do you want? Do you want the Rebel list or do you want the FO list?
I'll take the FO list. That's cool. Up next, you have Kylo Ren in the TIE Whisper with Brilliant Evasion, Instinctive Aim, Concussion Missiles, Optics. You see that fairly frequently. Again, I still prefer something over Brilliant Evasion, but that's fine. LaHughes, Proud Tradition Pattern Analyzer, SFG. Typical. Major Von Reg, though, with Marksmanship, Lone Wolf, Deuterium, Magpulse Warheads. Being able to get off that double modded Magpulse is pretty cool. And especially if you're going against like arcs or any low agility ship, you can just take the deplete with your Von Reg ship ability instead of taking like the strain, because you can probably hit them with 2 red dice with a focus target lock, right? So that's pretty nice. It's a good call for lower agility things in the meta. And you have Malorus with Mag Pulse and DT with Deuterium. So, I mean, you see a lot of these builds in FO. It's just kind of how you feel like cobbling FO lists together. This is pretty control, because you do have Mag Pulse on Von Reg. You have an I6 Mag Pulse. You had Mag Pulse on Malorus. You got Kylo jamming at I5. And then LeHugh's and DT. LeHugh's probably throwing 3 double modded dice at you, and then DT throwing 3 dice, which is pretty nice.
All right. The next one we have is from Ari Man or Josh Gresser or John Gresser, and this one has Fen with clan training, Beskar, Mando optics, your typical loadout Han Solo, Boy, Luke, and then Keo with Juke.
What's your opinion on Juke Keo?
I don't like it personally, but
Would
that's
you rather
me.
just have concussion missiles and Lone Wolf?
Yes, in this list, definitely yes. I know you prefer your Prockets, and that's fine. Like I get that.
Rockets are with Lando. Lando's the only time I take rockets on Keo.
But in this one, concussions and Lone Wolf are, in my opinion, a little bit better, because now you get Lone Wolf and your Force, and you get Lone Wolf on the churns. You don't get your Force, because you spent it, right? So, I Juke Keo to me feels like a 5-ship list specifically. I don't know.
I mean, you're probably stripping their tokens by then. It just seems kind of like the damage is more consistent, but you don't get spiky damage, right? Like, so you do more consistent damage, but you're not going to get the I need to put 3 damage into this ship or else I'm going to lose the game kind of feel, right?
Yeah. And like if you think about it, the bigger issue is if you're not at range 1, you're throwing 2 red dice, right?
Yep.
And if I have a 3 agility ship that has rerolls in a mod somehow, right, with Dedicated, then I have I can avoid those. Like it's not I don't know. The concussion missiles just make Keo an actual threat. So Keo could be objective-y or thready, whichever you want. So
maybe Grasser would have made top 2 if he had Lone Wolf concussion missiles. It would definitely fit the narrative Grasser, though. There's the running joke that he always comes in second. So
fair enough. All right, moving on to top 8. Alex, which top 8 list do you want to grab?
Oh, I'm going to take that resistance list. So
all right,
this is so close to a list that I fly. So this has Poe in the Falcon with Lone Wolf, Trick Shot, Chewbacca, Ray Gunner, Engine Upgrade, and the title. Jarek Eager with Heroic, Marksmanship, M9G8, Targeting Computer. Ello with Crack Shot, Marksmanship, Ferrosphere. Snap Wexley with Heroic, Ferrosphere, R6D8. And then BB8 with Han Solo and ATP.
No, you don't run ATP, so
I will never run ATP in my life. I also don't do a lot of Ferrospheres, but I love Poe Falcon. I don't think that's the loadout I would bring. It's kind of tough getting Lone Wolf even with Poe in the Falcon with 5 other ships and still like contributing enough to the fight that you are not just getting Jarek and BB-8 just absolutely murked. So, but yeah, I mean, it's M9G, it's always really good. You can slap that on Poe for like hilarity. I'd probably put it on Ello just so Ello can have some sort of rerolls. The Ferrosphere paint might help him. So it's just like solid. You don't have HLCs, so your top end damage isn't super high, but it's a solid enough resistance list.
fair enough. The next one I want to cover is by Scooter, who is, I believe, Scott out of Chicago area. Also plays in our league. He has
I
SOC,
played him.
Anakin, SOC Oddball, SOC Wolf, then Slider with Dedicated, and Plo Koon, baby. Plo Koon coming back and making a thing with CLT, Debris Gambit, Chopper, and Brilliant Evasion.
Tanner, that's not SOC Anakin. That's customizable Anakin.
Oh.
Yes, that Anakin has Malice, HLC, Target Computer, Predator, R4P.
Does it cost more?
It does. It's 5 points.
Oh my god.
He ran this and he topped 8 at Crossroads with this list. He actually lost to Josh. I had to play him in NCX. We were talking about it a little bit. We mutually congratulated each other on our top 8s. We actually when we covered Crossroads, we're just like, I don't understand that Anakin because none of it synergizes, right? Predator doesn't work with HLC, neither does Malice.
I guess it just gives you multiple choice.
Yeah, you can either do the 3-die shot or the 4-die shot.
Yep.
And then the Plo Koon, Brilliant Evasion instead of Patience, which it hurts me. Because, man, Patience works exactly like you want with Plo Koon's ability, where you can spend it to pass the token and then Patience back the Force. But, you know, it's a solid enough list. I love Plo Koon. I love Plo Koon so much. You can do so many dirty things with Plo Koon. You can pass that evade to Oddball or Wolf, and then they can pass it off with Born for this, which is real nice. But yeah, he's been flying that for a bit now, and he's still getting top 8s with it, and that's really impressive because that list is really hard to fly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, that Anakin, just like if I get the bullseye part if I just take off HLC and like targeting computer and just put an ion cannon, just a little bit of variation, not just having to bullseye every single time.
All right. What list? Which Empire list do you want next?
Oh, I'll give you the fun one. So I'll take starter pack pay to win Vader over here. With Soontir, with the Ruthless Marksmanship Shield upgrade, SL Tomax, SL Deathfire, and then Reimer with Seismics, Barrage Rockets, and Sat Salvo. Didn't bother to bring the extra point for delayed fuses. Don't want it.
Or forgot to put it in this list.
One of the two.
All right.
Maybe they brought failsafe with that other guy. Who knows?
Yeah. maybe it's just not in there. Then we have Chumbalaya has SLC. Yeah, we now have SOCs in. We have standard loadout Tomex, Fair Off with 000, Ruthless. Then we have RAC with Dauntless, Electronic Baffle, Cluster Mine. This must be a JJ. JJ must have loved this one. Cluster Mines, Agile Gunner, Death Troopers, Minister Tula, and Ruthless. And that's because you're bringing Vader as the boy Vader instead of pay to win. Which I still think I would bring pay to win Vader.
Well, if you never picked up the starter pack, right?
Well, I don't know. He's got the Tomax, so he probably does.
Well, that's from the bomber pack though. So
which you had to buy, and this guy's been around for a while, so you know he bought it. It's a pay to win Tomax. Can we start calling him that?
But that's just from the bomber pack. Like that's not because the starter pack Tomax is 5 points, right?
Yeah. So I don't like cluster mines at all on this rack. I don't get it. I think it's I guess I get whatever. You get rack into the mix and drop cluster mines on somebody that is sitting there. So yeah. Makes sense.
I think that's totally fine actually. I used to run rack all the time with proxy mines. Don't have enough points for there. You could drop the Ruthless to put it in there, right?
No, proxies are 10 points.
Right, and cluster mines are
7.
Man, they really changed those up.
Mm-hmm.
Because it used to be 1 point difference.
Yeah, if it was only 8 points, you definitely would not run cluster mines.
Right
at all.
You're right. I was thinking Electroproton Bomb, so the 8 point ones. Okay. Yes. No, I love mines on rack. I think that's solid.
Mhm.
I don't think I'd build the list that way if I'm bringing cluster mine rack. But no, like that can hit. It's a little greedy. I dig it.
It's greedy as hell.
Hey, that. Mm, how many times have you played rack? 'Cause, man, dropping a bomb mine rack is so good. Dropping mines, not bombs. Bombs you get hit with yourself. Mines you hit people.
I don't know. I don't play much rack. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll start. Maybe I'll throw rack in my kit and play rack as everybody else
I
is.
love rack. He's so fun.
Maybe I'll just do that. All right, now we're moving on to what I'm going to call top 14 because essentially you had to have 10 points. I think it was 10 points to move on. That way you couldn't go 3 and 2. So to move on, you had to have 10 points to be able to play day 2. So that's why there's only 14 people. It looks like again we have the Sam. So
Adopted Michiganian
okay.
Sam Page.
Is Sam going with you to Rust Cup?
No,
Okay,
unfortunately
he's running
not.
your Rust Cup list almost.
Almost, yeah, I know. He's actually in the chat, but yeah, no. Unfortunately, he couldn't do the back-to-back packs, and then be in Ohio, and also have a new kid
A life and yeah.
and live in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
so this one's pretty much the same. This has this has your Vader, Death Troopers, RAC. Then we have Reimer is a little bit different. This one
that Reimer
has
is the interesting thing.
BT-1 Electro Chafe missiles and Ruthless because he's just saying here. Let me tell you why. Okay, and this is where the question becomes: is would you then put seismics on rack just so you could blow that up? Like that's what I would be doing. Like I think I would figure out how to get seismics on rack to bring in here. But I like the BT-1 call. I think we talked about that last week or the week before.
Yeah.
I wasn't sold on it, but I've seen it played a couple of times since then, and I was like, okay,
When
it
you
makes a
have
little
Death
bit more
Troopers,
sense.
it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Also, when you have 000, not near rack, they change a hit to a crit because they're not giving you the calculate, right?
Yep.
So,
and your electro chafe missiles, baby, people don't remember what the hell those are anymore. So you got an advantage there, Sam. People are like, oh, you're gonna shoot that at me? Thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Electrochaff's not bad. It's just incredibly expensive, right? And that's why people don't run it anymore.
Yeah.
But it does like give people like jams, right? So that helps a lot with Vader Crew's ability to just do free damage to people who don't have tokens to spend. Should have been running Gamut the whole time. Joke's on you.
All right. What one do you want, Alex?
Oh, I'm taking the Lando one. It's not my preferred build. Resistance Lando. You have Lando with C-3PO crew, Ray Gunner, Contraband, and the title. I am convinced that Ray Gunner is not the right call on Lando because I think you can do a lot more with those 10 points than just convert a blank to a hit or evade. Then you got Elo with Heroic R6D8 and Marksmanship. And then you got 3 Y-Wings. We saw this in Europe, in England, I believe. And this pops up here and there. It's Chorus Capellum, the Gentleman Flyer, the Y-Wing, Dorsal, Wartime, Cluster Missiles, Liga with Diamond Boron Missiles, Wartime Loadout, and then Shaza with Plasma Torps, Dorsal, and Wartime Loadout, which is generally what you see with those people. But, Lando just gives them all the mods. They could just have, at I5, just get double modded munitions and then shoot them at I3 or I1. Honestly, I'd probably take off. One, that Eloatzi is missing 1 point, which is super weird to me. But in this list, you might as well just take off Marksmanship and Heroic and just slide in Mag Pulse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get an I5 double mag. Like, you had the double mods with Lando. And I think that would help make the Y-Wings not take a lot of incoming damage.
Yeah, probably would make. You don't need heroic on Elo, really. You You don't. So
Yeah, because like my LO that I run in my Lando list has R68 mag pulse, and I'm super weird, right? But like it has a purpose. Like it helps other ships live. It's an I5 mag pulse, and it's double modded off rip.
yeah.
So
All right. Next one we have is an FO list with Von Rag. Well, we have Magpulse, Deuterium, Lone Wolf, and Marksmanship. Kylo and the Whisper with Brilliant Evasion, Instinctive Aim, Concussion Missiles, Advanced Optics, and Jamming Suite. Malorus with Magpulse. Then we see an Ember. We have an Ember here instead of LeHughes with Pattern and Proud Tradition. Not what I would put on my Ember, but
there's not a lot you can do with Ember at 7 points. It'll load out.
I wouldn't be putting Proud Tradition, I don't think. But then we have DT 798 with Deuterium. So outside of the Brilliant Evasion, I've been running Fanatical on Kylo.
Fanatical a lot better.
Like, in fairness, like Fanatical triggers more than Brilliant Evasion triggers on my Kylo. So, and even then, it doesn't always trigger because like I don't know. I get Brilliant. I did used to run Brilliant Evasion on Kylo Whisper before, but I would get it off once every 3 or 4 games, if that. And so then after a while, I was just like, all right, screw this. I could just, run
especially on 2
else.
dice,
Yeah.
Ember is a little bit anti-synergistic with Proud Tradition because if like someone's damaged or if they're damaged, they can't spend their focus token when defending. So they just have it now. So you might as well Proud Tradition them.
Unless they don't remember. That's the key, Alex. People don't remember.
Oh, I know. No one remembers Proud Tradition.
Except for you. You do.
I have been someone's first time anyone's been Proud Tradition to them on 6 different people.
I know.
6.
That's why you're not allowed to play in Store Champs against
anybody. I read the card. It has a downside.
Yeah.
Well. Also, it's a benefit that I can have Obi-Wan's ability and just recharge the focus token anyways, but like still.
Okay. So I like the list. I think this is kind of cool. Again, Ember is a different choice. This is going to be a little bit more of a KG-ish list type thing.
I like Ember for 4 points. Like I think it's a solid base.
More than LeHughes? I don't know if it's better than LeHughes, though.
I think that depends on your list, but generally I would take LeHughes over Ember.
Because if LeHughes was an I5, I would get it. But with LeHughes being I5, it's kind of like,
But if like your list doesn't target lock a lot, I think I'd rather have Ember than LeHughes.
Fair enough. All right, what's the next list, Alex?
Another FO list. Got Malorus with Magpulse. Can you tell we're in America and not Europe? It's great. Yes. Scorch in the TIE Fighter with Elusive Fanatical. DT with Swarm Tactics.
Why? For who? For who? Who are you Swarm Tacticsing?
You can Swarm Tactics.
No one.
Okay, so next up is Midnight with Proud Tradition Swarm Tactics. So you Swarm Tactics DT up to 6, and then you Swarm Tactics someone else next to DT.
Malorus?
The problem is that if you Swarm Tactics DT up to 6, then cool. Now you're an I6, and now you have a strain token.
Yep.
You can
and no mod.
If you really wanted to, you can Swarm Tactics Midnight down to 4, and then Midnight can Swarm Tactics someone else down to 4. If you're insane. Then it also has Kylo Whisper with Brilliant Evasion, Instinctive Aim, Optics, and Concussion Missiles, and Lieutenant Gaelic with Ion Cannon Marksmanship.
Yeah. I'm not sold on the Swarm Tactics DT 7 at all.
If it means anything, he's probably the only person in the world who've ever done that.
I'm also like off of the Swarm Tactics Midnight train for the most part. So I don't
it's
think
useful when you have Whirlwind.
Okay, only Whirlwind. That's it. And then you have to run them next to each other.
Yeah.
And that becomes a problem when one can move and the other one cannot.
I mean, like Swarm Tacticsing Malorus up to 6 is nice for that Magpulse.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not my whatever. It's not my go-to type thing. So all right, let's keep moving because we're at 2 hours, man.
Well, you
the
don't have to go through everything.
we do because there is definitely a ship in here that you want to see. So we have Han Solo, Boy Luke, Keo, but this is the Keo with cluster missiles and trick shot. I did not even know those points all fit. I did not think they fit because I thought
8
Keo.
points.
Yep. So I didn't know that fit, but that's a thing. Keo cluster missiles, and at this point, why are you not just putting the whatever? Then you have Wedge with Predator, Marksmanship, and Sabine with Beskar. So pretty standard. Keo's a little different. I don't want to talk about it because I do not understand. I don't understand it other than like technically, if you do it right, with Keo side slip, technically you can get your cluster missiles off. If you take the target lock, spend your force on defense, do your side slip, get your target or get your force back. You it kind
If
of
you
works.
spend the force enough, you can just orbit one rock
Yeah.
in a circle shooting around if you really wanted to.
So it is what it is. To me, concussion missiles just make more sense. But I don't know. I obviously have not made a top 14 in a 75-person tournament. So Alex, what is the next one? It's got something in there for you, baby.
I know, I love it. So this is Pay to Invader, Boy Mauler, then SL Tomax. You got Barrage Rocket Set Salvo and Bombs Rhymer, and then my boy Grand Inquisitor with Ruthless, Predictive Shot, and Rockets.
It's amazing. I'm telling you right now. I love it. Like
You
got Rockets on a Grand Inquisitor. You could do a focus boost, right?
right, but the problem is that like you don't get any rerolls.
Do you get
Sure.
rerolls on Keel? No.
Lone Wolf. No, I don't. I get my mods with proc. That's why I fly with Lando so I can lock and then boost, so I can get the double modded procket with Keo.
All right, I take Prockets on Blackout, and you're all for that. And you're not double modded with.
I take the lock first before I decloak from sensor scramblers. Then I turn in for the focus. I am always shooting prockets with a target lock.
Right.
I almost never want to do it without a target lock. I don't roll well. I can't just roll 5 focus results, right?
But I like this. I like the Grand Inquisitor with Prockets. That's hilarious. I
agree.
used to fly Grand Inquisitor all the time. So
I love the Grand Inquisitor. Don't get me wrong. I would love, and I would fly in with Prockets. It's just an uphill battle for 5 points.
that's very true. The next one we have is Matt running a Bodica list with Mando clan training debris gambit. That's a different Bodica than I've ever seen before.
Yep.
Don't know if I like that. Q with Juke again, because yes. Then we have Sabine in an A-Wing with Beskar plating, clan training, and Mando optics. Evan Verlaine with Seismics and Ion Turret. And then Kane and Jarrus, baby. We got appearance of Kane and Jarrus. Kudos to Matt for running this. I'm telling you right now, I'm here for this list. With Agile Gunner, Saw Guerrera, Magva Yarrow, Dorsal Turret, and Heightened Perception.
Yeah. So like Yvonne can just like use her ability, right, to have someone roll an extra defense die, and Kanan can tell them to roll one less attack die if they decide to shoot. But which I mean, you can do it. But then it was like, well, you should shoot Kanan because that's kind of what you do. And then Bodica's like, great, shoot Kanan. This is fine. It's a funky list. And like if people fall for the trap, that can go really, really bad for them. But like it's cool.
It's a fun list. Come on, man. That's a fun list to fly.
Man, you just don't want Kanan to ever be blocked, because then you're just SOL. That's kind of half the problem. But the last one we're going to talk about, 3 and 2. RAC. Always, baby. Vader, Death Troopers, Agile Gunner, Ruthless, Dauntless, E-Baffle, SL Tomax, SL Deathfire, and Rexler.
Yep.
For a 4-chip list with Juke and Barrage Rockets.
Yep. It's awesome, man. Come on.
No, I mean I love like that like silliness of that, and like Wrestler's super cool. But man, like no one ever wants to. I mean, like I guess you can juke them while you barrage rockets, but man, diamond borons are so cool. Why don't people bring diamond boron missiles? It's not hard to lock with Wrestler.
I don't know.
It's so fun. Just do it.
I know. Because barrage rockets are probably more consistent. That's why. But diamond boron make a little bit more sense in this meta. So
yeah, I mean, like I guess you get re-rolls with barrage rockets if they're in your bullseye, so you can mod it a little bit better. But like, I don't know, just shoot your normal gun.
I know
if you're not in bullseye, so it's a little bit. Like I wouldn't shoot barrage rockets unless they're range 3 or if they're in my bullseye. So it almost seems like less useful.
It is, and that's probably why they're 3 and 2. But I'm saying I don't know. I'm still here for it. I still think that's a pretty cool list.
I think it's a silly list.
Yeah, like, and that's got to be fun. You get to run a defender and RAC together, and you still have room for other crap. You know, not as crazy as Defender Vader and Volscaris, but
Pittsburgh, man, what do they have in their water over there?
I don't know. This was in Philadelphia, so it ain't, that much farther, right? So, all right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Next week, we're going to be having a Fangs Out discussion with JJ. Hopefully, JJ will be back next week. And so we'll be talking a little bit about Fangs Out next week, I think, and kind of prepping some for the holiday as it's coming up. I don't know our holiday schedule specifically yet, but we will be working on our holiday schedule as we go out. I know I'm not going away too much, but like the weekend, like next weekend, I'm going to Ludington for hockey stuff for my nephew. The weekend after is Chicago, then back to Grand Rapids for another concert. So I have like 2 concerts back to back next week or 2 weeks away. And then after that, it's kind of the Christmas holiday. We will probably change the date for the Christmas episode since it's on a Sunday is New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve, and I don't know, I don't want to restrict people or tell people not to. So we'll probably pre-record a Christmas episode for that. And then we will be taking a week off. We will not be recording for New Year's Eve. I'm just going to let you all know ahead of time. That's off the docket. I'm on call that week, unfortunately, but
I may be in Cincinnati.
Yeah, even with that being said, we're going to we're going to take at least a week or so off and so everybody can kind of be with their family and stuff like that. So but with that being said, thank you for joining us. We will be back next week, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern or 2100 Eastern or 0100 UTC, whatever floats your boat where you live. Thank you. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the flippity flop.
Thanks for listening.